All right, on a Monday, Fox News alert now. President Obama will lay out his vision for what he calls new action at tomorrow's State of the Union. And he's warning Republicans if they do not act, he will. Good morning, everybody. It's going to be an interesting week. I'm Bill Hemmer, and welcome here to America's Newsroom. Morning, Martha.
Good morning, Bill Hemmer. Good morning, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum. So the White House unleashing its top advisors on the Sunday shows yesterday morning with basically a singular message. The president will use executive action to further his agenda if Congress doesn't get on board.
The president sees this as a year of action to work with Congress where he can and to bypass Congress where necessary to lift folks who want to come up into the middle class.
The president will say to the country, he's not going to wait. He has a pen and he has a phone. And he's going to use those to move the ball forward to create opportunity.
So for Republicans now quickly blasting all that, saying Congress cannot be ignored. And here is Rand Paul, the senator from Kentucky, on that.
It sounds vaguely like a threat, and I think it also has a certain amount of arrogance in the sense that one of the fundamental principles of our country were the checks and balances, that it wasn't supposed to be easy to pass legislation. You had to debate and convince people.
All right, now we are today with Byron York, chief political correspondent, Washington Examiner. How you doing, Byron? Also a
Good
Fox
morning,
News
Bill.
contributor. Climate change, immigration, income inequality, you can tick them all off. Exactly what does the president want to do?
Well, this whole initiative is based on the president's frustration. If you go back a year, the president just delivered a very ambitious inaugural address and pledged to do immigration reform. He pledged to do climate change. He pledged to do gun control, which is a big issue last year. None of this stuff has happened. So the president realizes that it's going to be very hard to do that without Congress, and he's come up with a bunch of smaller measures that could perhaps help create jobs. He's going to announce an initiative, for example, dealing with big companies who would pledge to not discriminate against people who've been unemployed for a very long time. When they're hiring people, those people have often lost some of their skills and are more difficult to reemploy. He's going to come up with lots of doable things like that and tell Congress, challenge them to act on it, and said, if you don't do it, I'm going to do it myself.
All right, well, Dan Pfeiffer said specifically, and quoting now, we need to show the American people that we can get something done. I think a little bit of that reflects the poll numbers lately. And you have to show you can get something done. The question is whether or not you can push something forward. Go.
Yeah, a lot of that reflects the poll numbers. I mean, we know the president's poll numbers. Job approval is underwater, down about 10 points from this time last year. And you don't underestimate the effects of the disastrous rollout of Obamacare. A lot of Republican strategists believe that has not only damaged the president's faith, the public's faith in the president to get anything done as far as health care is concerned, they believe it has diminished the public's faith in the president's ability to do anything. That's what the president's working against right now.
Just one more point on this. State of the Union, huge audience. I mean, you could argue this will be his biggest audience of the year. I mean, not being able to foretell what will happen later in 2014. But given the things you just mentioned there, Byron, will Republicans try and stop him? And if so,
well,
how?
You know, they haven't yet. I mean, the president took a lot of action unilaterally on environmental climate change last year. The Republicans haven't done anything. The president took action on immigration reform, on illegal immigrants who'd came to the country as children. He's done things before, and the Republicans have not tried to stop him. Remember when the president said, well, I've got a phone and I've got a pen? John Boehner, Speaker of the House, said, well, there's the Constitution, too. He's trying to assert congressional authority, but unless Congress actually does something about it and challenges him, the president can indeed do these things.
All right, Byron, thanks. Good to have you on a Monday, okay? Kicking our week
Bill.
off the right way. Byron York in Washington. Martha.
Well, of course, executive orders are nothing new. The president isn't the only executive to take advantage of these. Let's take a look at some of the numbers on this front. So far, President Obama has issued 167 executive orders, but he still has 3 years left in office. Let's take a look at President George W. Bush and how many he instituted: 291 over the course of his 2 terms. President Clinton issued 364 over 8 years. So they like the pen in the Oval Office, and they use it a lot.